Okay, the video for today is titled The Second New Deal and has to do with, in some ways, like a second stage of the original New Deal of FDR's. The concepts for today: when do the second 100 days occur and how are they similar to the first 100 days? How are they different? Um, Furthermore, what is the relevance of the Social Security Act today? And who is Eleanor Roosevelt? And why could she be considered the First Lady? No vocab for today, so we'll get right into the lecture. So, the second New Deal, before we get to talking about that, let's address again the first 100 days. The first 100 days were those initial programs that FDR was getting past, the beginning of the New Deal, essentially. What we want to remind ourselves of here is that the first 100 days in those New Deal programs really focused on relief. Okay, lots of people were hurting at the 4 years into the Depression, the Great Depression, and FDR aimed to provide relief for so many of those people in the first part of the New Deal. What's known as the second 100 days, or essentially the second New Deal, came around in 1935, so approximately 2 years after FDR's first 100 days and 2 years after his taking over as president. The second 100 days is going to focus on reform, okay? And reform in many different senses, but certainly some of that is going to include government reform. Part of the reason the second 100 days is enacted is because FDR wanted the first 100 days to simply do more. So more needed to be done, according to FDR. There were still problems. The Great Depression, things are starting to get better, but there's still a long ways to go. And so FDR does just that. He tries to do more with another set of New Deal programs. And one of them specifically that we'll mention right now is the Social Security Act. Social Security, you probably have heard that term before, is a big-time program still happening today. If you talk to your parents, they have something to say about Social Security, because the whole idea behind Social Security is that it benefits us in some way. If we are struggling now, it provides us with unemployment benefits. And if we have a job now, we are contributing to the government through taxes, things of that nature. But some of that money that we give to the government goes into Social Security, money that is going to be paid back to us later. Okay? Some of the questions, or one of the main questions surrounding Social Security nowadays is, are people like you, me, are we going to be able to take advantage of Social Security? Okay? Because if Social Security is around, it's something that, as we get later in life, we will be a fan of. But will it be around? That's a big question. Why are we bringing it up now? It's because this is part of that second wave of legislation. This is the reform that is taking place. This is an example of that reform taking place. Finally, let's turn our attention to Eleanor Roosevelt. This is the wife of FDR. And Eleanor Roosevelt is very significant in one major way, and that has to do with who a First Lady is. She's certainly not the first woman to take a stand on issues or fight for women or fight for other people's rights, but she is the first really modern day first woman, First Lady, someone who is very active, participates in politics, goes out and is a very active contributor to the political scene. Now, she spends a lot of time with fighting for women's rights, rights of minorities, works in equal with establishing equal rights, works in housing, and this is what she basically paved the way for first ladies like we see today with Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is active with certain areas of the government. The big one that she participated in was the kids, the health initiative for kids. That's where she dedicated a lot of her time to, just like Eleanor Roosevelt did now about 80 years ago. She's the one who set a new tone for first ladies, and we see that almost tradition continuing through today, and it will continue beyond now.